Today we're going to be making chicken and wild rice soup. You're going to need 3 chicken breasts, 3 stalks of celery, 3 carrots, an onion, 5 cloves of garlic, 2½ cups of wild rice. You're going to need a cup of white wine, and we're going to need a cup of half and half and 2 quarts of chicken broth, a pound of baby portobello mushrooms, 1 sprig of rosemary, and 2 sprigs of thyme. Now we're going to season our chicken breasts. For this seasoning mix, you will need 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon onion powder, and 1/4 of a teaspoon sugar. Make sure you season both sides very well. We're going to check and see if our pan is warm. While waiting on our pan to heat up, we're going to chop our vegetables. You're going to need 3 stalks of celery. Just cut off the white ends here, toss them to the side. You're going to want to cut them very finely for this soup. Don't have to be perfect, just cut it as fine as you can. Now that we have our celery cut up, we're just going to slide it into our bowl here. Move on to our carrots and onion. Cut the ends off. Cut these tops off. And the same thing for the carrots. Want to cut them as thinly as you can. Add it to our bowl here. Onion. Now we're moving on to our onion. For this recipe, we're only going to use half of an onion. Chop the onion as finely as you can. Just want to run your knife through it till it's all nice and finely chopped. Alright, while we're waiting for our pan to heat up, we're going to put on our 2½ cups of wild rice. I already have my water boiling. Now we're going to mince our 5 cloves of garlic. To make the mincing process easier, we're going to smash each clove with the side of our knife. Now that we have all of our garlic minced, we're going to set it to the side and move on to our next step. Now we're going to lightly coat the bottom of our skillet so we can sear both sides of our chicken breast. You're only going to sear each side of your chicken breast for 5 minutes. You don't want to cook it all the way through. We're just getting a nice golden color on each side. Make sure you stir your rice every couple of minutes to ensure that it does not stick to the bottom of the pot and burn. Our 5 minutes are up, and now it's time to flip. Remember, you don't want to cook it all the way through. You just want to get a nice golden crust on top. Now that we've removed our chicken breast from our skillet, we're going to add our celery, carrots, onions, and mushrooms. Make sure you stir your vegetables to distribute even heat and to ensure the vegetables on the bottom do not burn. Add extra olive oil if needed. With the same seasoning mix that we seasoned the chicken breast with, we're going to season our vegetables with. Once again, make sure you stir your rice and check on it periodically to ensure that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot and burn. Now that our vegetables are tender, we're going to add our garlic and let it cook for an additional 5 minutes. Make sure you add your garlic last. If you add your garlic in the beginning with the other vegetables, your garlic would burn by the time all your vegetables are tender. Now that we've allowed our garlic to cook for the allotted time, we're going to add a cup of white wine and let it reduce down for 20 minutes. In a separate pot, we're going to prepare to make our roux. Now we're going to chop our chicken breast into 1/2-inch pieces. Don't worry that they're still raw inside. They will cook down for an additional 20 minutes inside the soup. Now we're going to make our roux. You're going to want to melt 1/4 cup of butter, and once your butter is melted, you want to add 1/4 cup of flour. You're going to cook this mixture down for 5 minutes. I'm measuring by sight, but please use a 1/4 cup measurement of flour. Make sure you stir the roux to ensure that all the flour taste will be cooked out. You only want to cook this mixture until it has a very light golden color. Any further cooking will result in a darker stew with a nuttier flavor. Once our roux is done, we're going to add our wild rice to the same pot. And we're going to add our vegetables and white wine reduction. Make sure you stir to distribute the roux throughout the vegetables. Now that we have our wild rice and vegetables added into our roux mixture, we're going to add 2 quarts of chicken broth. Once you add the chicken broth, make sure you stir to distribute the roux and the vegetables evenly. Now that we have our 2 quarts of chicken broth added into our wild rice and vegetable mixture, we're going to stir and add in our chicken breasts. Once you get all the chicken breasts into the pot, you're going to want to cook this down for an additional 20 minutes. Once you get all the chicken breasts in the pot, you're going to want to cook this on medium-high for 20 minutes. Now that our soup has cooked for 20 minutes, we're going to add our cream and cook for an additional 5 minutes. At this point, you want to use the rest of your seasoning mix to season the soup and add your 1 sprig of rosemary and 2 sprigs of thyme. Once your soup has reached its desired consistency, add 1/4 cup of butter to finish it off. The butter is just added to give it a nice shine and mouthfeel. Now we're done and you can eat your creation.